Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I'm pretty excited for this video because I'm going to be trying out Lunar Beauty for the first time. So I feel like there was a time period of my life when I thought I would never ever try Lunar Beauty, but I genuinely do feel like everyone deserves a second chance when you feel like they have changed. And I'm a really emotional person, and I definitely put like feelings into the things that I buy, and I believe in voting with your dollar. So it was kind of like, it took me a while to decide to end up finally purchasing from Lunar Beauty, and I decided to make them my brand to try for the month of October. So they actually did have a release a while back that intrigued me, which was their Moon Prism powders, because the packaging, like, it reminds me exactly of like the little stones from Dragon Tales, if anyone remembers that cartoon. So I did end up grabbing that, and this is the thing where I was like, I really do want to try this, but I didn't see myself making an order just for one highlighter, and also I wanted to kind of see just how people felt about these highlighters after months had gone by, after the hype had died down. And I still feel like I do hear people talking about these from time to time, not as much as when they first released, like everything else, but still I've heard pretty good things. So I decided to go ahead and get the lightest shade, which I can't even remember what the color is, but the packaging is bomb.com. Like, I'm like so impressed. Like, the box is so unique. The fact that it slips on and makes a moon, like, that is so cool. And I never keep boxes, but I feel like I want to keep this just because I'm so obsessed. Like, I think just everything has been done really, really well as far as packaging goes. So here is the packaging. It is so beautiful. It's holographic. And the shade that I ended up grabbing is Mercury, which is the lightest shade. So here's what it looks like. It kind of looks to be a white gold type shade. So I'm very, very intrigued. And actually, I haven't looked in the mirror yet until just now, and that's a pretty good high quality mirror. So that's the first thing that I purchased. Although, here, I'll show you the most exciting thing, probably what people are clicking on this video for. I did go ahead and grab the Moonspell palette because I thought it was so beautiful. This definitely drew me in because I've always wanted a palette that looked like a book, because I love books, and I've always been intrigued by the Storybook Cosmetics palettes, but there's never been one that like specifically really spoke to me, except for Mean Girls, but that was out of stock for like ever on Ulta, so I never ended up picking it up, and I've always kind of had like a little bit of FOMO, like I want a book palette. So I think that part of the packaging really intrigued me. And when I was watching the reveal video for this, and Manny said that he thought of witches and he thought of purple and green, and I was just like, my favorite colors. Like, yes, I was so excited before you even opened it. So here again, like, the packaging is so nice. Like, this is not a little plastic sleeve. It is really nice, and I just feel like, again, I will be keeping the packaging, especially because the inside and the outside have different designs, which I appreciate. It kind of shows that even more time and detail went into this. So here's what the palette looks like. Then you've got your little ridges for the pages, and here's what the back looks like. So this has a net weight of 0.66 ounces or 18.75 grams, and it is cruelty-free, and it says it's supposed to last for 12 months. So here's the inside of the palette. I just wanted to show you the mirror really quickly, which is literally so huge. I don't want to show it too high because I have a gigantic mess in front of me and all around me at all times. But it's a gigantic mirror. It's a rectangle, and the mirror that I do my makeup in front of me is a circle, so they're not the exact same, but it's almost as big as like the stand-up mirror that I have. So it's a really nice size mirror, and again, pretty good quality. So here is what these shades look like. Here, I need to like hold it in a certain way so you can get like a really good view of the colors. It did come with like something over the mirror and then like a little plastic sheet as well, but I took Instagram pictures of this palette earlier, so I took that out. But here's what it looks like. It has that really reflective packaging where you can't see the colors perfectly. Actually, maybe like right there is kind of a good like true to color representation, but I do feel like it looks more grungy in person. It's definitely not super bright colors. Also, when I initially opened up this palette, I feel so excited about the shimmers, especially Prue and Phoebe. Phoebe. I feel like I should know how to say that. I'm so sorry. Phoebe. Phoebe! I know people named Phoebe. Wait, no, just on Friends, not real people. Anyways, the shimmers look so good in the pan. Like, they just look so multidimensional, and like they're gonna be really intense, which is definitely what I prefer. And I went to like 6 Sephora's this weekend when I was in New York City, and every single time I went into one, I would just look at the blue and white shade in the Lunar Beauty Strawberry Dreams palette. I've swatched it twice in store, and it's just so beautiful. I have something similar. I feel like Glow from Clionadh is very, very much the same. But even just the first time I saw that in person, I was like, this is actually so bomb. Like, this inner corner highlight, like, I'm obsessed. I don't need to buy it, but I'm obsessed. So it made me that much more excited because I had already ordered this online. And I'm all about really intense metallics. I feel like I'm taking forever to get into actually trying the makeup today. But I also grabbed a lip gloss, which this was from the Strawberry Moon collection, and it's the shade Dreamy. Honestly, this was an impulse buy to not have to pay for shipping because their shipping is free at $75. And I wasn't that far off, and I figured if I'm doing like a first impression on Lunar Beauty, you know, then I'll have eyes, cheeks, lips, and it'll be a full thing. So I kind of just looked around at the different lip options, and all the packaging looks really beautiful, but honestly, I'm the worst. I'm just like, maybe I should just get a nude gloss. So that's what I did, always, every single time. So here's what it looks like. The packaging is pretty cool. It has like a little gem on the inside. I mean, this one's not as much as my aesthetic as like the book and the little highlighter. I like those more, but it definitely does look sleek and nice, and you can see the color on the bottom, which I appreciate because I have a lot of glosses. Although actually, I don't know if I have any other glosses that have like more of like a white packaging to them. I feel like I have a lot of gold and a lot of black and a lot of silver, but not a lot of white. So let me just go ahead and swatch this real quick because I'm really curious. Oh yeah. Okay, so it's sheer and it's kind of just like peachy. I'm glad it's not super opaque. That definitely looks like something I will use all the time. It smells sweet. Maybe it reminds me of the Pixie lip icing. Basically, it just smells like really strong vanilla, which I appreciate and I enjoy that kind of scent. It's more sweet vanilla than like a MAC lipstick. It's more than that. But I figured I would go ahead and really quickly I'll swatch Mercury too, just for the heck of it. Oh, it's so beautiful. I don't want to touch. Feels kind of smooth. It's not like super like a thick formula, but definitely good pigmentation, and it looks pretty metallic. Just did a little swirl. Okay. Yeah, it honestly kind of looks like a really light white gold. It doesn't have like a duochrome to it, which I thought that it did, which I'm kind of glad. I feel like that's something I'll reach for a lot. It has a nice just little glow to it. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and swatch them, and I thought I would do it a little bit differently. I'm going to do the top row, and then I think I'm going to do Sarah and Samantha because those both have kind of a little bit more of like the purpley tones to them. And then I'll go ahead and do these shades like right here, like making a little E, those ones, and swatch those together just because I feel like the blues and the browns go a little bit more, just to kind of see the color stories as one. Or like, since I'm not going to have room to swatch all of them on my arm at the same time. Well, maybe I could. Actually, 15 shades. That's not... Why am I overthinking this? I'm still going to do the purple, and then I'll do the other colors just because I want to. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start off with Prue, which feels really nice. It's very, very soft. Ooh. Okay, so it kind of reminds me of Runts from Divina Cosmetics. It's a similar shade, but I think it has a little bit more of like a soft lavender base to it. And then we've got Piper, which is a really beautiful metallic, kind of pinky reddy purple. It doesn't have the glitters in it that Prue does. And then we've got Phoebe, which looks to be, again, super intense. Actually, okay, that one looks a little bit more like a topper almost. I mean, it's pigmented, but it feels like a really thin texture. It almost looks like if these two shades had a baby, that would be Phoebe, because it has the base of Piper with the shift of Prue. So that's really, really pretty. Oh yeah. I feel like you can't see the shift of Phoebe as much on the arm, but you can definitely see blue sparkles throughout it. Pretty sure that this is a pressed pigment palette as well, not an eyeshadow palette, so some of the shades might end up staining because of the dyes that are in the red toned shades. Right now I'm going to go ahead and do Page, which is the first matte shade, and honestly it feels pretty smooth. It's kind of a bright pinky purple. And then we've got Sabrina, which is a really bright purple. Kind of like a true cool tone one. So there's Sabrina. And then I'll go ahead and do Sarah, which is a like light kind of mauvey tone. Actually, as I'm swatching it, it looks a little bit more gray, whereas in the palette it looks more purple. But it looks like it would be a good transition shade. In fact, like these shades together remind me of the Morphe 39S. And lastly, for the purpley pinky shades, I'm going to go ahead and swatch Samantha, which I feel like I'm crazy. I'm looking in the palette and it looked red, and like now I'm swatching it on my finger and it looks kind of like just like almost like a taupey copper. I mean, do you see a red undertone? Am I crazy? I mean, maybe a little tiny bit. Like maybe it's like just a little bit of a red shift. I don't know. I might be crazy. I'm doing Winifred, which, you know, is your like obligatory beauty guru brown transition shade, but not, because I'm literally eating my words. Again, it looks like, I feel like the packaging is like messing with me. It looks like a plain brown transition shade, but then as I'm swatching it, it actually looks like a really nice mustardy brown. I die for colors like that, especially these colors with greens. Perfection. And then we have Mary. So Mary looks to be like the most subtle duochrome ever. It has a little bit of a darker base to it, but then it has the green running through it. And then we've got Kiki. So there's Kiki. It's a little bit darker and it looks like it would be like a good mid-tone deepening shade. I actually think those three shades together look really pretty and would be a nice look. Okay, next we have Hermione, which is a gold shade, and it kind of has that like toppery, glittery look to it. Honestly, it's kind of an interesting color. I don't know if you guys can see that. Honestly, looks like the mustardy brownie yellow colors, except made metallic. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how I'll like that on the eye. I think it actually does look kind of interesting. And then there's Bonnie, which I loved Bonnie. I loved the Vampire Diaries. So I'm swatching this and it definitely feels a little bit more sheer. It has it's like a chartreuse kind of lime green. But I'm curious to see how that builds up, just because looking on swatching, like I can see through it on my finger. And then we have Marnie, which I'm excited about because it's more of a grungy green. And then last but not least, we have Nancy, which looks to be like a really nice teal, which is actually pretty bright. And then Fiona is a metallic teal, but really deep actually. That's actually, oh, that's really pretty. Again, it's almost like a really subtle duochrome where it has like that darker base and then the shift running through. These two actually look like literally perfect together. So there is the entire palette swatched out, and I feel like from first impression, everything felt really nice. There was none that felt like a dud, all pretty good pigmentation. The mattes felt pretty like smooth as I was swatching them. I'm really excited to put this shade on my inner corner because I feel like that's just what immediately drew me in, although I'm not sure what direction I'm going to go in it completely today yet. The only thing, my criticism right off the bat, is I don't really love the deepest shade in a palette being a metallic, which would be this. I wish that like this brown had been a little bit deeper, or I wish that this purple had been more of like a really deep, rich, like plummy purple, like something with a lot more depth to it. I feel like majority of people who do eyeshadow like to have a deepening shade on the outer V, or just in general to use, and especially if you have a deeper skin tone, I feel like this being the darkest matte shade is a little disappointing. I mean, I could go to other palettes, but just looking at it as a whole, just looking at just this, that's the one thing I feel. Especially, like I said, especially I feel like this, if it had been a really deep, rich, plummy purple, just deliciousness, I think that also would have made the palette look a little less bright and a little bit more of that like grungy, witchy vibe that's supposed to go for, while also giving more options for depth. So that's just my 2 cents. So here's what it looks like a little bit closer up. So I went ahead and pulled out Runts from Davina just to show you what they look like next to each other. I think that they do have very similar duochromes, but it looks like Runts has a little bit more pinkiness to it, and Prue is a little bit more of like a true purpley lavender. Also, Runts is a different texture. It's a lot softer and like not powderier, but just the Lunar Beauty one feels more like slick. So, oh yeah. So Runts is just a little bit more intense, but I feel like the colors are so similar. Like, actually, Runts has a little bit more of a gold shift to it too, but if you were eyeing this palette just for Prue, then this could be like a good alternative. I definitely wouldn't call it a dupe. And then also, Karen Harris asked me to swatch the Colored Rain Safari Rain next to Moonwell. That's what it's called, right? Moonwell? Moonspell. Moonwell is the, oh, that's Angelica's collaboration with Davina. I'm a mess. Okay, so anyways, she asked me to swatch this, and at first I thought that they would be nothing similar, but as I'm looking at them, I feel like they do have some similar core shades, and then it's the other ones that take the color story to a completely different route. So really quickly, I've got Clay here, which is like a warm brown. So here is Colored Rain. Here's the brown Matriarch, which is not quite the same. Sound swatching is good. Got Amazon Basin, which I'll swatch next to this one. We've got Toucan. Then we've got Congo Basin and Jungle. So hopefully that was a little helpful if anyone was curious. Is it bad that I've been talking for like 40 minutes and I haven't even put any eyeshadow on my face yet? So I'm going to go ahead and start off with, I think, the shade Bonnie first. I don't even know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm just going to roll with it. And I'm also really curious because this shade swatched the most sheer, how it'll end up applying. Okay, so it definitely has to be built up a little bit, but it is building up and blending out pretty good. It's actually applying a little bit like more dirty looking than I expected it to, like less of a true really bright green, but I like that. I think it goes for the color story. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and dip into Marnie, and I'm just gonna put that a little bit lower down in my crease. Definitely pretty good pigmentation right off the bat. I barely dip my brush into the pan. Okay, so I feel like it's going pretty well. It's blending out pretty nice. I'm going to go ahead and grab the shade Nancy next. I am getting a little bit of kick up, and I'm going to pop that on my outer V. I thought that this was going to be darker than the previous shade, but I feel like the way that they combined in the crease made it look darker than what this is. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's adding more of a blue tint, but it's not really doing a whole lot. I'm actually going to go ahead and dip into Nancy with my little pencil brush, and I'm going to put that along my lower lash line. I mean, see, even there, this is a little bit more of a fluffy brush, but I feel like it's kind of showing up as more of a sheer color. I feel like packing it on is helping a little bit. It is building up. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Phoebe. I'm just going to go ahead and use my finger because that's my preferred method of applying shimmers lately, and also just feeling this, how slick it is. I feel like you could probably go in with something like the ColourPop packing on brush, but it is definitely an interesting kind of slicker texture, so it might be something you have to try different brushes with and figure out what works best for you. But I'm like, the finger is so easy, may as well just use that. So I'm going to put that all over the lid. You can really see the blue shift, so I appreciate that. I pretty much cleaned off my pencil brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and really gently just kind of go over the edge to where it's not like a super harsh line. I also kind of want to take a little touch of Fiona. Like I said, I have no idea what I'm doing with this look. It was just wherever it took me. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that on my outer V. Just a tiny little bit, just to add a little bit of depth. And we're just going to kind of blend it into that shimmer. I'm going to go in with my blending brush and just slightly buff that out. Actually, I think I might go ahead and while I'm here take a little bit of Fiona and pop it on the lower lash line as well, just to connect. Alright, last but not least, I went ahead and cleaned off that brush again, and I'm gonna go I'm so tired. I need more coffee. I'm gonna go ahead and go into Prue. I'm gonna pop this onto my inner corner. Okay, let's see. We'll see how it goes with this brush. But I figured I'd pop it on my inner corner, and then I'd also kind of bring it up into that other lid shade, Phoebe, just because I thought those two would connect really pretty. Honestly, I am impressed at this point. Like, specifically, I mean, the mattes blended fine. They're like, I feel like a matte is a matte is a matte. Like, as long as it blends and it shows up, I'm good with it. I mean, there are some that I prefer more than others, but when it comes to metallics, I think that's when I'm a little bit more picky, because I've discovered that so many indie brands just have so many different textures and duochromes and multichromes that it's like a lot of mainstream brands. I try them and I'm just not impressed by like the same old satin. So I'm excited to see that the shimmers here are actually really interesting and beautiful, and they have duochromes. They look beautiful in the eye, and I think that even if I use like the NYX glitter glue, it would be even better. But I really like the texture. I think I'm also going to take a little bit and just kind of blend it into the blue. The heck of it, I'm taking a tiny little baby amount of Prue on my finger and just popping that right here. Definitely feel like it picks up better on a finger. Ooh, yeah, that's so beautiful. All right, off camera really quick, I'm going to use the Appeal gel liner in the shade Deep Taupe, throw on some mascara, and I'll be right back. All right, so here is the finished eye look with mascara on, and I do really like it. Color me impressed. So now I'm gonna go ahead and try the highlighter, which looks a little funny because I got eyeshadow on it and then I wiped it off and it has residue, but it's fine. Now it smells like baby wipes. I'm just gonna go ahead and use the BH Cosmetics 140 brush. This has been in one of their sets. I can't even remember, but I've had it a really long time. It's like bent, but it's a pretty good highlighting brush, and I can't find any of my other favorites right now. Ooh, okay. I think I picked up too much. Looks very intense. Just gonna go ahead and blend that out. Okay, I think I went in with a little bit more than I wanted to, but it does look really pretty. It has a really nice glow to it. It's a very bright, light gold. I feel like I do really like the way the formula looks. I think that if they had a really light pink toned highlighter, I would be all about it because that's my favorite. I'm actually going to go ahead and take just a touch of that on my pencil brush and highlight underneath my brow bone. Okay, so thoughts on the highlighter would be that it's really, really pretty. I like the way it looks on the skin. I feel like it's in a very intense glow, but it does kind of blend in. It doesn't look like a stripe, so I like the way the light hits it, basically. I hope they expand and do more shades of this. I think that'd be really cool. Alright, so last but not least is the lip gloss. Things are falling everywhere. I need to clean this room like nobody's business. Okay, so because it is so sheer, I feel like it doesn't really add a lot of color to my lips because I already have pretty pigmented lips, but the like actual like glossiness looks really, really pretty. Looks very like wet, juicy. It's soft, it's not sticky at all. I would say it's not like super thin, but it's not super thick either. It's kind of in between. Feels pretty good, but it's just a quick little application, so I'll definitely have to wear this for a longer amount of time and see how it ends up leaving my lip, if it leaves gracefully, if it leaves my lips hydrated or dry. So I will definitely get back to you guys on this product later, but just from first application, this is the kind of lip product that I would just throw on all the time without even thinking about it because it's so easy. So I do really like the overall finished look, and especially the palette I am definitely impressed with. I wanted to do a look where I incorporated the purples and the greens without it getting muddy, because those two shades together can be a little bit tricky and you have to be careful about how you place them, what colors you blend together. But I do really like how it ended up, and I think that like it does not look muddy. I love the like green and then the blue, and I love the different textures with the duochromes. Like, very, very happy so far with the palette. In fact, I was thinking that I would really like to do a week of this palette and do 5 looks. I'm not promising because I'm a mess, an unorganized mess, but I think that this palette has a lot of variety and opportunity. So definitely let me know if you would like to see 5 looks with this, because looking at it, I feel very, very inspired, and I know that it is supposed to be limited edition, so I don't know how long it's going to be around for. I know it's coming soon to Beauty Bay, but it hasn't arrived yet. Alright, so first impressions. So far, I really like everything I've tried from Lunar Beauty. I don't really have anything bad to say. There was some kick up with the mattes, but that doesn't bother me at all. That's like the only thing I can think of, except for like I wish that there was one deeper shade in the palette, but honestly, even Fiona, which is a metallic, putting that on my outer V, even though it's not the first thing that I would typically go for, I think that it did really mesh the greens and the purple together, and also the shift between the purple to the green with that blue in between. Like, I just think it all looks really pretty. So sometimes it's nice to have something different than what you would normally do, because it makes you get out of your box and try something different, and you might end up liking it like I did today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I would love to know if you've tried Lunar Beauty, if there's anything you've been wanting to try from them, or if you're just not about it. I'm impressed. Especially, I'm glad, like, the packaging is amazing, which drew me in, but the quality seems to be pretty good as well, which is a relief because I paid money. I paid money for this. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.